What's up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the numbers. These are my full card breakdown and predictions for UFC 259. We have a stacked card this Saturday, to say the least. I mean, 15 fights from top to bottom, stacked. I don't see one bad fight on the card, and I know it's crazy to say that 15 fights, there's got to be at least one bad one. But no, I like every single fight. I don't think there's a bad fight on this card. We have 3 title fights, all but one should be semi-competitive here. We have Israel Adesanya, Yawn Blachowicz. We have Amanda Nunes, Megan Anderson. We have Piotr Yawn and Aljamain Sterling. So 3 very good, exciting title fights there. And just some really great fights throughout the card. I mean, we have guys like Casey Kenny, Dominic Cruz on the prelims. We have Yadong Song, Kyler Phillips on the prelims. We have Askar Askarov, Joseph Benavidez on the prelims. We have Sean Brady, Jake Matthews on the prelims. I mean, this card is stacked. So, yeah, definitely looking into breaking it down here. Looking for a decent week of betting as well. I think this week is great for betting. So many great spots on this card. I do have 2 bets already looking for, a lot of action. I'm going to have a lot of action, probably my biggest card betting-wise maybe ever. So lots of spots I'm looking at. I'm waiting on some live movement for some, but there are a lot of spots I have my eye on. And yeah, coming off of an awful card last week, 9-fight card. For me, the picks were pretty good. The reads were very good. The bets were not good. Left a lot of money on the table. Passed on guys like Jacoby Lawrence. The main event, co-main event, chalky parlay hits. And Alexis Davis by decision, something I was looking at. Not pull the trigger on that. But yeah, I mean, overall, that card was bad. So going from that card to this card, I think it's going to be a lot more exciting this week. And last week's card was one of the worst cards I've ever seen. But this card, hopefully, is one of the best cards I've ever seen. So as always, before we get into it, if you can leave a like on the video, subscribe if you have not yet, would really, really appreciate that. Trying to get 10K subs, almost there, less than 100 away. So if you do enjoy my content, if you do want to help support, please don't hesitate to hit the sub button. And also like the video as well. Let's try to get to 500 likes on this video. It's a big card. Let's get a big number up there. And as always, going to be doing my contest on DraftKings and on the Significant Strikes. To enter the first contest on the Significant Strikes, first, leave a like on the video. Next, subscribe if you have not yet. And then third, comment down below how many Significant Strikes you think that Adesanya and Blachowicz are going to combine for. And then $25 to first, as always, not much, just something to show thanks for all the support you guys bring. And I'm just really shocked every time I do this. Like, guys are getting it on the dot. Guys are like 3 or less away. So shout out to you guys. Can't wait to see if we can get this one on the dot as well. And that's just so hard to do. I mean, but people have been doing it. So shout out to you guys. And then the other contest is going to be the DraftKings contest. I'm probably going to limit it to the first 200 people this time because it is a much bigger card. To enter that, first, leave a like on the video. Next, subscribe if you have not yet. And then third, comment down your DraftKings username. Yes, you can do both. So comment down both. I'm going to give away some free money. I've given over like $1,000 away since I've started doing this. So want to keep doing that. Keep giving back. Just to say thanks for all the support you guys bring week in and week out. So the Friday live stream is going to be 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern time as always. I'm sure this card may or may not lose a fight. I'm leaning towards more that it will lose a fight. We have 15 fights. We are in Vegas. Crossing my fingers it doesn't happen, but got to be kind of realistic here. So I do think there could be some changes towards the card. So on Friday, I'll be going over all of those, going over the weigh-ins as well, which are always very, very important. So come tune in 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern time for the weigh-ins or for the after weigh-in video. And then my betting breakdown, as always, will be on Saturday mornings. And yeah, this is going to be a longer video, so the timestamps will be in the description below. Maybe we'll hit an hour on this video. Don't know yet. About to find out, though. So if you do want to support me more, you can sign up on the Patreon below. I have almost 300 members over there. There you get access to my bets, all my early bets, my betting breakdown videos, my article, access to Discord. We talk fights throughout the week. Fight nights are very fun as well. And we beat a lot of line movement. Beat a lot of line movement last week. Kevin Kroom got him at plus 210. Closed it like plus 127. Didn't matter. He sucked. Beat line movement on Montana De La Rosa. Got her at like plus 124. She closed as a minus 125 favorite. Doesn't matter. She got a draw. But beating line movement is very important. It's something that we've been doing for a while now. So tune into that in the description below if you want to help support. If not, as I always say, all my content's going to be free. My breakdowns, all that good stuff. My bets will always be free. Post them on Twitter, Instagram, and the betting breakdown and all that good stuff. So with all that out of the way, let us get into the card of the year. So first we have Trevin Jones versus Mario Bautista. Mario Bautista is 27 years old, 5'9", 69-inch reach, going to be at a 1-inch reach disadvantage and a 2-inch height advantage. He is 8-1 and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. Trevin Jones is 30 years old, 5'7", 70-inch reach, 12-6, 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Counting the last one as a win, of course, we all remember Timur Valiev. Trevin Jones went out there and knocked him out in the second round. They did not count the win because of, I believe, marijuana. So we're gonna count it. I mean, he went out there and knocked him out in the second round. But we'll get into more of that. But taking a look at the line here, we have Mario Bautista opened up minus 245, kind of fluctuated a little bit, got down to minus 200, currently at minus 240. And Mario Bautista opened up Trevin Jones opened up plus 185, currently at plus 200. So a little bit of money coming in on the Mario Bautista side, and I definitely get it. I think this is a pretty good matchup for him. Trevin Jones in that Timur Valiev fight, I really thought the ref could have stopped it. Kind of shocked that Timur did not finish that fight. I mean, he hurt Jones bad to the body, unlanded like a 20-25 punch combo on him. I'm shocked he did not finish that fight, and then going into the second round, Jones caught him. So kind of a fluke incident there. I think if they ran that back, Timur Valiev would pretty comfortably win because he was pretty comfortably winning that entire fight. I mean, Timur Valiev hit him a ton. In that fight, Jones absorbed an average of 9.45 per minute in that fight with a 29% accuracy. So Bautista, I just think is the better striker. I think he's better overall. Before the Jones win against Valiev, going a little bit farther or deeper into his career, just not impressed. Not impressed. I think Bautista is going to have a massive striking advantage, massive volume advantage. And we saw how hittable Jones is. I think Bautista is going to hit him a ton. I will say, though, Jones is very tough. In 18 fights, he's never been knocked out. So I'm kind of leading on the Bautista side. We saw Bautista does have power. He went out there and got a flying knee victory over Miles Johns in his last fight, and that was just beautiful. I mean, he tried to set that up all fight. I think he went after it like 4 or 5 times, finally got it in that second round. Beautiful flying knee, but I'm going to take Bautista here. I think he's the better overall fighter. Jones, I hate saying a win's a fluke, but it's kind of fluky there. So I'm going to take Mario Bautista to win by decision, and pretty comfortable in that pick as well. Interesting fight here. We have Uros Medic versus Alon Cruz. Medic is 27 years old, 6'1", 71-inch reach, 6-0, obviously 5-0 in his last 5 fights. Alon Cruz is 31 years old, 6 foot, 78-inch reach, 8-3, and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. We'll take a look at the odds. Uros Medic opened up minus 170, currently at minus 165. Alon Cruz opened up plus 140, currently at plus 145. And this is actually a tough fight to call. I mean, Uros Medic is somebody that's coming off the Alaskan fight scene. And just taking a look at his competition, not great. Not great at all, to say the least. I mean, the guys that he's facing are just not good at all. So that's kind of a question mark. But he did handle them accordingly. He did look solid. Did see him get taken down a couple times by these very low-level guys, which is concerning. But he is going to be making improvements. He's training at a good camp now. I believe he's at King's MMA, which is a fantastic sign. I do think the guy's talented as well. So I like Medic here, but there's question marks. There are question marks. I would not lay the minus 165 just due to the fact that this guy's never been to a decision. This guy's never been to a third round. This guy's been to the second round once. In that fight, it ended in like the first 30 seconds of the second round. So just the question marks. I mean, what happens if Alon Cruz extends this fight, gets Medic into the second and third round? What happens there? What happens if Alon Cruz takes down Medic as well? Just a lot of question marks for me. So it's definitely a pass. I'm going to take the Medic side. Just not all that impressed with Alon Cruz. But I think if Alon Cruz comes in here with the game plan of making this a dirty, grimy fight, holding Medic up against the cage, possibly taking him down, I do think there's a path to victory. But I'm going to side with Medic here. I think he's very dangerous. 100% finish rate. Alon Cruz has been finished in all 3 of his fights. We saw him get knocked out in his last fight very early against Spike Carlisle, but just not something I'd lay my money on. But I will say this. I think Medic has some decent upside. Only 27 years old, finally at a very good camp in King's MMA. I like the guy. I like the guy. Also, something else to note, Cruz is going to have a 7-inch reach advantage, which I don't like, but I'm going to take Medic to win. And I'm going to say he wins by first round knockout. I'm going to say there's going to continue to be question marks about this guy going forward into his next fight. I'm going to say we don't see the second round, but I'm curious to see what does happen if it goes to the second round. But I'm banking on Medic getting it done early here. So I'm going to take Uros Medic by first round knockout. Honestly, don't feel great about that pick whatsoever. Next, we have a fight here that should be somewhat exciting. I think Lemos is a very exciting fighter. Amanda Lemos, which is 33 years old, 5'4", 65-inch reach, 8-1 and 3-1, or 8-1 and 1 and 3-1 and 1 in her last 5 fights. Yawn Souza is 29 years old, 5'3", 63-inch reach, 14-2 and 4-1 in her last 5 fights. So Lemos is going to be about an inch taller, 2 inches of reach advantage for Lemos as well. And we'll take a look at the odds here. Lemos is minus 230. She somehow opened up as a plus 165 underdog. I don't know if that's correct or not, but if so, that's insane. And Souza opened up as a minus 215 favorite, currently at plus 190. And I think that's probably where the line should be, where it's at now. I like Lemos quite a bit in this matchup, and we'll kind of go through the stats a little bit. Lemos is somebody that's extremely high volume, averaging nearly 6 significant strikes landed per minute with a 64% accuracy. Does get hit quite a bit, averaging 6.09 absorbed per minute with a 44% striking defense, but a ton of that was from the Leslie Smith fight where she did get finished in the second round. As far as Yawn Souza, extremely low volume, averaging only 2.2 significant strikes per minute with a 46% striking accuracy. She does absorb, over a significant strike more than she gives out, absorbing 3.02 significant strikes per minute with a 65% striking defense. So I think Lemos is going to have a pretty sizable striking advantage. I really don't think it's going to be close. Watching the tape on Souza, man, I'm not all that impressed at all. I think Lemos is going to be the faster fighter, the better striker. As far as the grappling stats go, and this is where it kind of gets a little bit interesting, Amanda Lemos so far in her career has an average takedown average of 2.26, 100% takedown accuracy, 100% takedown defense. And as far as Yawn Souza, averaging 2.59 takedowns per 15 minutes, a 44% takedown accuracy, and a 40% takedown defense. So both fighters, I believe, are black belts. Both are very solid grapplers. If anybody's getting a takedown, I kind of lean towards the Lemos side. I'm just really struggling to find a path to victory for Yawn Souza. I think on the feet, it's Lemos all day. I think when it hits the mat, I still favor Lemos, especially if she can get on top. And I don't know. So, I mean, Sarah Frodo was going out there, having success on the feet against Yawn Souza. I think Amanda Lemos can. And Amanda Lemos did show a lot of improvement in her striking as well in her last fight. I was very impressed with what I saw against Mizuki Inoue in her last fight. The cardio checked out, and that was a big concern about me, was the cardio, because in the Leslie Smith fight, she completely gassed out. But, looks like she has it under control now. I'm going to take Amanda Lemos to win by decision. She is a decent finisher, but the thing about, Souza is she's extremely durable. In 16 fights, never been knocked out, never been submitted. Lemos has finished 88% of her wins, but I'm going to take Lemos to win here by decision, and honestly pretty comfortable with that pick as well. All right. Yeah, very, very good fight here. We have Sean Brady versus Jake Matthews, and Sean Brady, he is 28 years old, 5'10", 72.5-inch reach, 13-0, obviously 5-0 in his last 5 fights. Jake Matthews, 26 years old, 5'11", 72-inch reach, 17-4, and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. And we'll get into the stats a little bit, but do you want to take a look at the odds? And we have Sean Brady opened up minus 312, currently minus 220. Jake Matthews opened up plus 245, currently plus 180. So some money is coming in on the Jake Matthews side. I can kind of see why, but I do think Sean Brady should be the favorite. And we'll get into the stats a little bit here. Not really a big sample size for Sean Brady. I think he has like 3 or 4 fights in the UFC thus far, but he does land a decent amount of volume, 5.44 significant strikes per minute with a 55% striking accuracy, absorbs 4.35 with a 61% striking defense. As far as Jake Matthews, a little bit more on the lower volume side, landing 3.15 significant strikes per minute with a 46% striking accuracy, absorbing only 2.12, which is really good, with a 63% striking defense. I think as far as the striking goes, I give the advantage to Sean Brady, based on the volume. I think is going to be a big thing. I think he's the better striker in general. As far as the grappling stats go, the wrestling stats, Sean Brady so far in the UFC has been very good at getting takedowns, averaging 3.26 per 15 minutes takedowns, 57% takedown accuracy, which is fantastic, and 100% takedown defense. Jake Matthews averaging 2.09 takedowns per 50 minutes with a 41% takedown accuracy and a 71% takedown defense. So yeah, I mean, it's pretty simple for me. These guys are kind of very similar. Both guys are black belts in BJJ. Both guys are decent wrestlers. Both guys decent strikers. I do give Sean Brady the advantage, though, pretty much everywhere. In the wrestling, I give Sean Brady the advantage. In the grappling, I give Sean Brady the advantage. In the striking, I give Sean Brady the advantage. So I'm gonna go Sean Brady here. I think he's the better fighter overall. Jake Matthews has been good at times, just more on the inconsistent side. Sean Brady undefeated 13-0. I think he makes it 14-0 here, and probably by decision. Sean Brady, not much of a finisher, 46% finish rate, 23% by knockout, 23% by submission. Jake Matthews, not much of a finisher, 65% finish rate, 24% by knockout, 41% by submission. I really don't see either guy submitting either guy here. So that's probably a good decision. Matthews has been subbed twice. He's been knocked out once before. I'm going to take Sean Brady here. Don't hate the line, especially where it's coming down now. Wouldn't be shocked if the line kept moving in a little bit. I see just so much love coming in on the Jake Matthews side, and I kind of get it. It should play out somewhat close, but I really do think Brady has the advantage in the striking, in the wrestling, and the grappling, pretty much everywhere. So in the cardio is a big thing as well. The volume is a big thing. So where is Jake Matthews better in this fight? I'd say the level of competition, and I'd say the experience as well. But outside of that, I favor Brady everywhere. So give me Sean Brady here. I don't hate him as a parlay piece as well, and I'm going to take him to win by decision, which the decision prop is not bad. I think the decision prop's like plus 150, but ultimately I do like him to win here by decision. All right, interesting fight here. We have Carlos Ulberg versus Kennedy Nzechukwu. Only saying that once, probably got it wrong. Hopefully the pronunciation police does not get on me in the comments. But Kennedy versus Carlos Ulberg here. We have Oberg is 30 years old, 6'4", 77-inch reach, going to have a 6-inch reach disadvantage. 3-0 and 3-0 in his last 5 fights, or last 3 fights. Kennedy is going to be 28 years old, 6'5", 83-inch reach, 7-1 and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. We'll take a look at the odds here. And Ulberg is minus 245, opened up minus 160. Kennedy opened up as a plus 130 dog, currently plus 205. Kind of think the line should be where it opened with Ulberg at minus 160. I don't necessarily see why there should be so much line movement, just because of all the question marks of an Ulberg that does have 3 MMA fights. And I went back and watched those fights. One of those fights on the 3-0 record was in 2011 against someone that had 30 seconds of a gas tank, and the dude couldn't even, stand up after the first round and quit in that fight. So I really don't even count that. So pretty much has 2 somewhat legit fights in MMA. So just the question marks, but he does have a kickboxing background, very good kickboxer, does train with City Kickboxing, very good camp there as well. So yeah, I mean, I like this guy. I think he's good, but there are some question marks with the MMA experience. But I do think the kickboxing experience is going to play dividends here against Kennedy Nzechukwu. And Kennedy, just going back and looking at his career in the UFC, very, 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 very unimpressive against Paul Craig. He was winning the fight all the way up until he lost it, and even then it was kind of close. He did somewhat win on the feet against Paul Craig, which is not that hard to do. Making mistakes, went into the 3rd round. I believe Craig got like a triangle on him. Just very green in that fight. And then against Darko Stosic, very interesting fight that happened there. I mean, Stosic kicked Kennedy in the nuts like 3 or 4 times, and after the very first one, the ref said, I'm going to take a point the next time. He kicked him in the nuts, and the next time he kicked him in the nuts even harder, took another point. So he lost 2 points, Stosic did, against Kennedy, and if he would have lost only 1 point, I think it might have been a draw, or even Stosic would have won. But in that fight, Kennedy just did not look great. He's so green. He has 8 fights himself. He looks big and scary and dangerous, but he doesn't look to have much power. He's not, very high volume. He has a ton of reach. He just doesn't really use it. And Ulberg, I do think he's the much better striker. And something to look at going forward, I mean, is maybe possibly the takedown defense question marks of an Ulberg, but I don't think we're going to have to worry about that here. Same thing for Kennedy. Guys have tried to take him down. His takedown defense, for the most part, is held up. But I think this is going to primarily play out striking, unless Kennedy does come out there with a wrestling-heavy game plan, which I don't see. But unless Kennedy's made some massive improvements, I just don't think he's the best fighter in the world. I got to favor Oberg here, training in a very good camp, training with guys like Israel Adesanya, guys like that. So yeah, I'm going to take Carlos Ulberg in it, but a guy with 3 MMA fights, I'd kind of, be a little bit cautious, especially at the minus 260 or whatever he is here. I think it's a little bit wide. But I'm going to take Oberg to win. I think he knocks out Kennedy Nzechukwu here. All right, next we have Tim Elliott versus Jordan Espinoza. Espinoza, he is 31 years old, 5'6", 69-inch reach, 15-8 and 2-3 in his last 5 fights. Tim Elliott is 34 years old, 5'7", 67-inch reach, 16, 11 and 1 and 2-3 in his last 5 fights. So, yeah, Jordan Espinoza, taking a look at the odds here, opened up as a plus 115 dog, currently the minus 130 favorite. Tim Elliott opened up as the minus 145 favorite, currently as a plus 110 dog. So some money is coming in on the Espinoza side, and this is something we're going to hear in a lot of breakdowns, I think, like the takedown defense of Espinoza. I think that's a big talking point here. It is 90%, but just kind of going through the record of Espinoza, hasn't really, faced many takedowns at all. And Tim Elliott is actually a really, really good wrestler. So we'll kind of take a look at it here. If I can find the numbers here. So Jordan Espinoza fought guys like David Dvorak. David Dvorak maybe tried to take him down once. Mark De La Rosa, a very good grappler, no wrestling at all. Alex Perez was able to take him down once. Other than that, Matt Schnell, Eric Shelton was not able to take him down. And Shelton did not shoot a takedown in that fight. So just other than that, really hasn't fought. Fought 2 guys in the Contender Series as well back in 2018 and 2017. They shot for some takedowns, but those are guys that have never made the UFC. So just really question that 90% takedown defense, honestly, because guys have not really shot on him outside of, like a Mark De La Rosa. But even then, Mark De La Rosa has a 13% takedown accuracy. So Tim Elliott is somebody that is a very good wrestler. He's somebody that is 4 takedowns per 50 minutes with a 48% takedown accuracy, and that's where I think I'm going to side with the Elliott side here. And Espinoza, very, very questionable grappling. The guy's been submitted 4 times. And don't get me wrong, Elliott's been submitted 4 times as well. But, Espinoza has been, not all that impressive in the UFC. We'll kind of take a look at the Espinoza wins in the UFC. Mark De La Rosa, Eric Shelton. That's it. I mean, just not impressive at all. And Tim Elliott has fought some really good guys. He's fought guys like Luis Smolka, decent, Demetrius Johnson, guys like that. Joseph Benavidez, guys like that. So I'm going to side with Elliott here. I think on the striking, it's going to be Espinoza all day. Elliott has a very poor striking defense. He's very hittable. Espinoza is going to probably throw the harder shot, throw the more volume here. But I really think if Elliott can get him down, which I do lean towards he does, I think Elliott can have a lot of success, whether it is finding the submission or maybe winning a decision. But I'm actually going to say Elliott's going to be the 5th person to submit Jordan Espinoza. Elliott has a ton of submissions on his record, and kind of shocked that all this money is coming in on Jordan Espinoza, somebody that has been very underwhelming in the UFC. So I'm going to take Tim Elliott here. Don't love it, but I'm going to say he wins by submission in this fight. All right, speaking of 90% takedown defense, we have another guy with 90% takedown defense, and that is Kai Kara France going against Rogerio Bontorin. And France is 27 years old, 5'4", 66.5-inch reach, 21-9 and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Bontorin is 28 years old, 5'5", 67-inch reach, 16-2 and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. Taking a look at the odds here, Bontorin opened up as a plus 145 dog, currently plus 115. Kai Kara France opened up minus 165, currently minus 135. So some money is coming in on the Bontorin side. And yeah, France is another one of these city kickboxing guys. There are 3 of them on the card. Of course, Israel Adesanya, Kai Kara France, and then Carlos Ulberg. Those are the 3 on the card. But yeah, I mean, taking a look up at Bontorin, I thought I was probably going to go with him in this fight. Just his striking is very underwhelming. I do want to get into the stats a little bit because I do think they're important for this fight. Kai Kara France, very high volume striker, does land 5.16 significant strikes per minute, 39% accuracy, absorbs 4 with a 66% striking defense as far as Bontorin so far. And I think like 3 or 4 fight sample here. Bontorin lands a 2.3 significant strikes per minute with a 52% striking accuracy, absorbs more than he gives out, absorbing 3.17 with only a 38% striking defense. As far as the takedown stats go, and this is where I think it gets really interesting in this fight, and I was kind of leaning on the Bontorin side because I thought maybe he could take down Kai Kara-France here. His wrestling's good. He's very strong. Very, very good grappler. I just don't know if he's going to be able to, 1, take down Kai Kara-France, or 2, hold down Kai Kara-France down. And you're probably going to say, how are you picking against Jordan Espinoza? He has a 90% takedown defense. Why aren't you picking against Kai Kara-France that has a 90% takedown defense? Because I think if Espinoza gets taken down, I don't think he has the same scrambling ability or ability to get up as a Kai Kara-France, as in if Kai Kara-France gets taken down, he has a very good ability of getting back up or scrambling. So for that reason, I like France. I think he's going to keep this fight on the feet for the most part. I do think that Bontorin does get down France maybe once or twice, but even then, I don't see him holding down Kai Kara-France. So I think on the feet, it's Kai Kara-France all day. I mean, that's where he wants it. City kickboxing guy, very good striker. I'm going to take France here. The money is coming in on Bontorin. I do expect it to keep coming in. I do expect him to keep, he's one of the more popular dogs of the week. I'm going to sit back and wait. If I can somehow get Kai Kara-France at plus money, which I don't really expect, but maybe it does happen, I'll definitely take a shot there. But Bontorin, just not impressed with the striking. He is going to be the more dangerous fighter in this fight, but I'm going to take France here. So I know there might be a little bit of recency bias. France went out there and got dominated. He got dominated against, who was that? He got dominated against, what was his name? What was his name? I forget his name. His name was, going to take a look here. What was his name? I mean, it's on the tip of my tongue. It's going to drive me crazy, so I'm going to look it up. What was his name? His name was Brandon Royval. There we go, Brandon Royval. It was going to drive me crazy. I had to look it up. So yeah, he took an absolute beating against Brandon Royval in a fight where I thought that France was going to have a really significant striking advantage, but Royval went out there with a really unorthodox fighting style, landed a ton of knees, hurt France like 2 or 3 times, dropped him twice at least. I don't necessarily see Bontorin doing that, but I'm going to take Kai Kara-France here to win a decision, possibly get a knockout, but I'm going to be on the safe side and take a decision here for Kai Kara-France. All right, next we have a very exciting fight. We have Askar Askarov versus Joseph Benavidez. And Askar Askarov, he is 28 years old, 5'6", 67-inch reach, 13-0-1, and 4-0-1 in his last 5 fights. Joseph Benavidez, he is 36 years old, 5'4", 65-inch reach, 28-7, and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Taking a look at the odds, we have Askar Askarov opened up -120, currently -120. We have Benavidez open at -110, currently +110. So yeah, very interesting fight. Of course, we all remember the absolute beating that Joseph Benavidez took in his last fight against one Deiveson Figueiredo. And I mean, there's really no shame in that. I mean, Deiveson Figueiredo, very, very hard hitting. So really can't take a look into that. But the amount of damage he took in that fight was insane. And Benavidez is typically somebody that is very, very, very durable. I think that was the first time he's ever been knocked out in that one fight 2 fights ago. And then the last time he got dropped like 2 or 3 times, ended up getting submitted as well, which that was the first time he got submitted. So Figueiredo was the first person to submit and knock out Benavidez, which I believe is pretty crazy there. So as far as this fight goes, just looking at it, going through the tape, I think this is such a great stylistic matchup for Benavidez. It's just all the question marks that come to mind with the Benavidez, who is 36 years old, who just took probably a life-changing beating in his last fight against Deiveson Figueiredo. Took a lot of damage in the other fight too, where that headbutt happened and then ended up getting knocked out as well. So the amount of damage, where's his head at? He probably, maybe he knows, maybe he doesn't know, but he's probably not getting another title shot. You wouldn't think. I'd be extremely shocked if he did. But I don't know. It's just such a good stylistic matchup for a guy like Benavidez, who is literally one of the best scramblers I have ever seen, going against a very good wrestler and Askar Askarov. And I'll be honest, not too impressed with Askar Askarov. I mean, he went out there, got a draw against Brandon Moreno in a fight. I really thought that Brandon Moreno won. I mean, he went out there, the first round was very close, but Moreno did hurt Askarov in that first round. The second round was pretty close, but Moreno hurt Askarov in that second round. And then the third round was no question whatsoever. It was Brandon Moreno from, start to finish there. So I did score the fight for Brandon Moreno there, but they did score a draw, which was interesting. The fight after that was Tim Elliott, where Tim Elliott actually took down Askarov 3 times, and Askarov took down Tim Elliott 0 times, which is interesting there. And then the recent fight against Pantoja, where very, very close fight. Askarov was able to take down Pantoja twice, had a decent amount of control time. Pantoja was able to take his back at some point, which was interesting. I think Moreno took his back as well. I'm just not completely sold on the guy, and I think this is a tough test in a way. I just don't know where Benavidez is at in his career. So I see this being on the feet. I got to give the advantage to Benavidez. I think he's going to be the much faster striker. I think he's going to be throwing the more volume. And if Askarov does take down Benavidez's scrambling is just something like you've never seen. I don't see him doing much with those takedowns. So for that reason, I'm actually going to take the underdog here with Joseph Benavidez, the 36-year-old. Like I said, I don't know where his head's at, but this is just such a winnable matchup for him that I got to go with him here. I mean, just taking a look at some of the guys that Benavidez has been losing to in the past. I mean, Davison Figueiredo, Sergio Pedersen, which was a very, very close fight there. Demetrius Johnson. So Dominic Cruz, like the guys he's been losing to are absolutely legit. Is Askarov legit? I mean, yeah, I think he's very good, but this is just a stylistic matchup that I do think does favor the Benavidez side. Just to having the better striking, being the faster fighter, and having that really good scrambling ability. And I actually wouldn't be shocked if Benavidez went out there and took down Askarov. I know it's crazy to say, but Askarov does have a 64% takedown defense. Benavidez does average about a takedown and a half for 15 minutes. And, Tim Elliott was able to take him down 3 times. So I wouldn't be completely shocked if Benavidez went for some takedowns himself here. But I'm actually going to take the underdog in Joseph Benavidez to win a very close decision here. Very exciting fight here. We have Yadong Song versus Kyler Phillips, and what should be one of the better fights on the card. And yeah, it could be fight of the night. I mean, it's going to be kind of hard with so many great fights on the card, but I think this has potential to be, one of the more exciting fights. So Yadong Song, he is very young, 23 years old, training out of Team Alpha Male, 5'8", 67-inch reach, 16-4-1 and 4-0-1 in his last 5 fights. Kyler Phillips, 25 years old, 5'8", 70.5-inch reach, 8-1 and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. So we'll take a look at the odds here, and we have Song Yadong open up as a minus 190 favorite, currently minus 155. Kyler Phillips opened up as a plus 165 dog, currently plus 135. And yeah, I mean, I kind of see why there is money coming out on the Phillips side, but I like Song Yadong, or Yadong Song, in this fight quite a bit. Just taking a look at the level of competition, and it's pretty crazy to look at. Kyler Phillips is going from guys like Gabriel Silva, Cameron Else, to Song Yadong, and Song Yadong has been fighting guys like Marlon Vera, like Cody Stamann, and I get why money's coming in on the Phillips side. It's because Song Yadong has fought very close fights in his last 2 fights. A lot of people thought that Marlon Vera won in this fight. A lot of people thought that Cody Stamann won, including me. And, before getting into it, looking at any tape, I thought for sure I was going to bet on Kyler Phillips as an underdog, because I had that thought in my mind that, Yadong Song's going to very close decisions, and decisions he's probably losing. So I was ready to fade Song Yadong, but after getting to the tape, I actually kind of like what I see from the guy's takedown defense. His takedown defense isn't bad at all. I mean, he stuffed a ton of takedowns from Stamann. He did get taken down 5 times, but I think he has much more better takedowns than a guy like Kyler Phillips. Marlon Vera was able to take him down twice, and really no shame. I mean, people were putting too much stock, I think, into him winning very close decisions against really good guys like Marlon Vera and Cody Stamann. Those guys are both very good, so I don't really want to look into that too much. I want to look at the matchup, and I do think Song Yadong is going to have, the better striking by a decent margin. I think he's going to be throwing the harder shots by a decent margin. The only concern I have is kind of the cardio of Song. I don't think it's horrible, but he does slow down a little bit. The output of Yadong Song, I don't think it's horrible, but Phillips is going to bring a lot of output as well. But, Song's going to be landing the harder shots. I do have concerns about if Phillips is able to get Song Yadong down, but from what I've seen, Yadong Song's takedown defense is pretty good. I'm going to take Song here. I'm going to take him to win by knockout, actually. I think he's going to hit Phillips hard. I remember in the Marlon Vera fight, like Song was absolutely throwing down. And Vera is somebody that's extremely tough, never been knocked out. I don't know if Phillips is going to be able to take those same shots. I'm going to take Song Yadong here to win by knockout. I know Phillips is, easily the most popular dog on the whole card, but I'm going the other way. I'm going to take Yadong Song to win by KO in what should be a very, very fun fight, as long as it lasts. All right, another very exciting fight here on the prelims. I believe it's the main event of the prelims as well. We have Casey Kenny versus Dominick Cruz. Casey Kenny, 29 years old, 5'7", 68-inch reach, 16-2-1, and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. As far as Dominick Cruz, he is 35 years old. He is 5'8", 68-inch reach, 22-3, and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. So yeah, I'll get into the stats on this one just a little bit. Before we do that, we'll look at the odds here. And Casey Kenny is a -135 favorite, open at -110. Cruz open at -120, currently +115. So some money is coming in on the Kenny side. And yeah, Dominick Cruz is somebody that went out there in his last fight against Henry Cejudo, got knocked out in the second round. Kind of a controversial stoppage. At least he thought it was controversial. I didn't hate the stoppage, honestly, but he did go out there, and I believe it was the second round he did get knocked out. But before that, lost to Cody Garbrandt, and that was in 2016. So the biggest argument you're probably going to hear this week is the dude has not had a win since 2016, June 4th, against Uriah Faber. Prior to that, beat TJ Dillashaw, beat guys like Demetrius Johnson, Uriah Faber. So he's fought some really good competition. It's just he has not had a win in a long time. So I definitely get it. Casey Kenny is a very solid up-and-comer. This guy's very, very talented. I like him a lot. I've been riding with him, his past couple fights against like a Wood, against Alatang, against Smolka, but I think this is a really big step up in competition, going from guys like Heli Alatang, where he did have a fantastic matchup, but Alatang's not the best fighter, against Smolka, who's not the best fighter. Before that, got taken down 12 times by Merab Dvalishvili, and then he does have wins against Manny Bermudez. It does have a win over Ray Borg in a very, very close fight where Borg took him down 7 times, and I don't know. I see this being close. I see this going to decision. Casey Kenny, very high output, averaging about 4.79 significant strikes per minute with only a 43% accuracy. Absorbs 4.07 with a 59% striking defense. Dominick Cruz lands 3.52, 38% accuracy. Does absorb only 2.28 with a really, really good 73% striking defense. I think the striking's close in a way. Kenny's going to have a lot of volume. It's just hard to see where Dominick Cruz is at in his career. I went back and watched that Cejudo fight. He did not look as bad as I remembered. But yeah, Casey Kenny is somebody that does slow down as the fight goes on. And I think a factor that could be played out in this fight, I think that nobody's talking about, is maybe the wrestling of Dominick Cruz. I know he didn't go out there and take down Henry Cejudo. Why would you? Or how could you? You're not going to take down a Cody Garbrandt, somebody that has very good takedown defense, very good scrambles here. But Casey Kenny is somebody that has a 56% takedown defense. Like I mentioned, taken down 12 times by Merab, taken down 7 times by Borg, has been taken down quite a bit throughout his career. And he has very, very good scrambling ability. But I think if Dominick Cruz implements some takedowns into this fight, I think it could be very big here. Yeah, Dominick Cruz does average 3 takedowns for 50 minutes with a 48% takedown accuracy. Very good wrestler, very good ground game. And I don't know, this fight's so close. I'm going to side with the dog of Dominick Cruz here. Again, some question marks. Where's his head at? Has not won in 4 years. I get all those arguments, but Casey Kenny's not ranked. I want to say he's just out of the rankings. It's pretty crazy going from Henry Cejudo, the champ, to someone that's not even ranked in against Casey Kenny. So I'm going to say that this is easily Casey Kenny's biggest fight of his career. I know he looked good against Wood in a fight that he did get outlanded, 136 to 123 in a very close fight. A lot of people thought Wood won, but this is Dominick Cruz here. I'm going to take Dominick Cruz. I don't feel great about it, but I think this is a huge step up in competition for Kenny, and I think this is a really, really massive, massive step down in competition from Dominick Cruz, going from Henry Cejudo, going from guys like Cody Garbrandt, guys like that, to Casey Kenny here. So give me Dominick Cruz to win by decision in what should be a very, very fun fight here. All right, main card time, and I'm going to take a drink. A big card. Not used to these big cards. All right, so we have Alexander Rakic versus Thiago Santos to open up the main card of UFC 259. And Rakic is 29 years old, 6'4", 78-inch reach, 13-2 and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. Thiago Santos is 37 years old, 6'2". He has a 76-inch reach, 21-8 and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. And we'll take a look at the odds here. And Alexander Rakic opened up as a minus 265 favorite. Wow. Currently at minus 155. Thiago Santos opened up as a plus 185 dog, currently plus 135. And yeah, kind of an interesting fight here. I think on the feet, I favor Rakic. I think on the ground, I heavily favor Rakic. We saw Thiago Santos go out there in his last fight against Glover Teixeira, and that was an amazing fight. It was awesome going back to watch that. Santos hurt Glover Teixeira very bad in that first round. I thought he was going to finish him. Glover was able to, really push through, able to take down Thiago Santos, dominate him there. And I believe it was like the second or third round where Santos hurt Glover Teixeira very bad again, but Teixeira was able to, dig through, get that takedown here. And it's a tough fight to call for me. I think the more talented fighter is Rakic. I think the guy with the more upside is Rakic. But when you're somebody with Santos, it only takes one shot. The guy has an insane amount of power. Have seen Rakic dropped before, which is not a great sign at all. Rakic is a little bit on the hittable side, which is not a great sign at all. But I think that if he comes out here with a really smart game plan of probably taking it to the ground, I think that would be best. But yeah, the dude got dropped against Devin Clark, which is, an awful, awful sign there. But I was able to knock out Devin Clark with a beautiful spinning back fist later in that first round there. But I don't know. I favor Rakic. It's one of those fights where I favor Rakic everywhere, but would I be completely shocked if he went out there and struck with Thiago Santos and he knocked him out? No. Definitely passing on this one from a betting perspective, but I think if he comes out here and takes down a guy like Santos, somebody that has a 64% takedown defense, we saw that Rakic can definitely implement that game plan. Did it against Anthony Smith pretty handedly there. I think that he does have a significant advantage on the mat if it does get there, but I'm kind of worried about Rakic standing and striking with Santos, which I do think he can, but at that point, you're giving Santos his only path to victory. So I'm going to take Rakic to win. I'm going to say he wins by a TKO ground and pound finish in the second round, but yeah, nothing I'd lay my money on here, but this is such a good fight. Really good fight to open up the main card here, and really looking forward to it as well. All right, another great fight. Islam Makhachev versus Drew Dober. Makhachev, 29 years old, 5'10", 70.5-inch reach, 18-1 and 5-0 in his last 5 fights. That one loss coming by knockout. Drew Dober, 32-inch reach, or 32 years old. Sorry, it's late. 5'8", 70-inch reach, 23-9 and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. So, yeah, I mean, we have a wrestler grappler versus a striker here. I mean, taking a look at the odds, minus 350 for Makhachev, open up minus 350, closing at minus 350 right now. Drew Dober plus 260 open up at is currently plus 290, and I definitely get that line. I guess it could be a little bit closer, but Drew Dober is somebody that has struggled with, getting taken down in the past. He was taken down 3 times by Alexander Hernandez. He was taken down, I think, like 2 or 3 times by Benavidez DEC. Dober has been submitted 3 times. He's been knocked out once as well. Dober's takedown defense currently sits at 58%, and it's pretty simple here. I mean, Makhachev, he knows what he wants to do in this fight, especially. I mean, Dober has one path to victory, and that's going to be a knockout, which, is it possible? It's definitely possible. Makhachev has been knocked out before. We've seen, especially in the past couple fights, that Dober has some serious power. 69% finish rate for Drew Dober. So I think Makhachev's going to fight smart here. He's going to clinch up. He's going to take down Drew Dober, and I think he's going to do it pretty handily. Honestly, I don't see this being close outside of a knockout from Dober, but I really don't think that's all that likely. I'm going to take Makhachev here. I'm going to take him pretty comfortably. As far as a parlay piece, maybe it's a little bit too wide, but I do think he wins with the takedowns. I've seen guys get into mount pretty easy on Dober. I think Makhachev could possibly submit Dober as well. But I'm going to take Makhachev to win by pretty dominant decision here. I really see him taking all 3 rounds just by getting takedowns. A very, very good wrestler, and we'll definitely see it on Saturday. But I like Makhachev here. I do think he is the real deal. But Dober's no slouch himself. So if he has a puncher's chance, he has some power, but I just don't see him stuffing the takedowns at that point. The power is not going to be so good off his back. So give me Islam Makhachev. I'm going to take him to win by decision. All right, skip the fight here. My bad. We are to Petr Yan versus Aljamain Sterling here in what's a fantastic fight. I mean, this is probably the fight I'm most looking forward to, just because I see, people with opinions on either side here. I see a ton of people with opinions, strong opinions on the Sterling side. I see people with a ton of opinion on the Yawn side. I mean, and people are laying their money down. I mean, this is a fight that for me is so hard to call. I'm probably staying away from a betting perspective, but yeah, we'll get into it here. So Petr Yan averaging 6.32 significant strikes per minute, 50% accuracy. He does absorb 3.25 significant strikes per minute with a 63% striking defense. So we'll see that both guys have a ton of volume. Sterling does average 4.82 significant strikes per minute with a 50% striking accuracy. He does absorb only 1.94, which is fantastic. 66% striking defense. Forgot this, but Petr Yan is 28 years old, 5'7", 67-inch reach, 15-1, 5-0 in his last 5 fights. Aljamain Sterling is 31 years old, 5'7", 71-inch reach, 19-3 and 5-0 in his last 5 fights. Taking a look at the odds here, and yeah, pretty interesting here with the odds. So Petr Yan opened up as a -140 favorite, currently -110. Aljamain Sterling opened up as a +120 dog, currently -110. So yeah, such a tough fight to call here for me. As far as the grappling stats go, Aljamain Sterling, I think this is going to play a big part in the fight. I'm not sure that Sterling can either A, take down Yawn or hold him down. I think that's going to be a massive part into him winning this fight. It's hard to see Sterling going 5 rounds, striking with a very, very, very good boxer in Yawn, somebody that's going to throw a lot of output, somebody that's going to be the more powerful striker, powerful puncher. So I do think that Sterling's going to need to get takedowns here. I just don't see him getting it. He does average about 2 takedowns per 50 minutes, 29% accuracy, and Sterling does have a 51% takedown defense himself. Petr Yan averages about 1.5 takedowns per 50 minutes with a 52% takedown accuracy and does have an 88% takedown defense. But yeah, I mean, I heard an interview with Petr Yan, and he was saying that he might even go out here and get takedowns as well. He said he's going to stuff the takedowns. I do tend to believe him here. Don't necessarily think he should go out and get takedowns, but maybe he can mix them in a little bit. But yeah, I got to give the cardio advantage to Petr Yan. I think he's going to have a much better cardio. I'm interested to see how Sterling looks when it does get into the later rounds, and I do think it does get into the later rounds. I think the volume is very close, but I'm going to side with Yawn. I think the pressure is probably going to come from the Yawn side. At least he needs to pressure in this fight. And I don't know. This is a 50-50 for a reason. I'm going to take the Yawn side. Just if Sterling does not get this down to the mat, do I see him winning a strike that could potentially go 5 rounds with Yawn? Not really. I think if there's a finish on either side, it's going to come from the Yawn side. Yawn has some power. Aljamain Sterling does not have power. But really, it's a tough fight to call. I'm going to take Yawn here. Yawn does have a 54% finish rate, 47% by knockout, 7% by submission. Aljamain Sterling has a 53% finish rate, 11% by knockout, 42% by submission. Does he submit Petr Yan? I just don't see him being able to either take Yawn down or hold Yawn down. Yawn has very good takedown defense, and Yawn has a very good scrambling ability. So I'm actually going to take Petr Yan to win by decision here in what should be a very, 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 very close fight. But you're just not confident enough to bet either side here, honestly. All right, so next we have the co-main event of the evening. We have Amanda Nunes versus Megan Anderson. The fight we've all been waiting for. This could be the people's main event here. We have Amanda Nunes, who is 32 years old, 5'8", 69-inch reach, 20-4 and 5-0 in his last 5 fights. Megan Anderson, 31 years old, 6 foot, 72-inch reach, 10-4, 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Yeah, Amanda Nunes, obviously the GOAT of women's MMA, and it's really not even close. But the line on this fight is it's kind of crazy. She opened up -1,050, currently at -1,050. Megan Anderson opened up +600, currently +675. So all in all, around -1,000. So it's indicating that Amanda Nunes wins this fight like 9 out of 10 times, which do I think that's correct? Do I think the line's off? I'm here to tell you that I really don't think the line's off. I'm really struggling to find a path to victory for Amanda Nunes, and we'll kind of get into the stats. I really don't want to too much, but I do think they're important in this fight. So Amanda Nunes is going to throw a ton more volume, averaging 4.4 significant strikes per minute, absorbing only 2.47. Megan Anderson throws an awful 1.82 significant strikes per minute with a 46% striking accuracy. She absorbed more than she gives out. absorbing 2.94 with a 38% striking defense. Goodness. And as far as the grappling stats go, Amanda Nunes does average 2.5 takedowns per 50 minutes. I suggest this is what she does if she wants the easiest path to victory. 53% takedown accuracy, and she does have an 84% takedown defense. Megan Anderson, she has a 53% takedown defense, which is, awful. And just taking a look at, kind of, the level of competition between two fighters, it's honestly not even close at all. Megan Anderson, somebody that is fighting fighters like Felicia Spencer. I know Amanda Nunes just destroyed Felicia Spencer, but Megan Anderson fighting fighters like Felicia Spencer in a fight where she got submitted in the first round. Zara Farron, who was making her UFC debut. I think she had like 4 fights on her record. Norma Dumont. So she has wins over Norma Dumont, Zara Farron, and Kat Zingano in that fight where she kicked a cat in the eye. And then she has losses to Holly Holm and Felicia Spencer. Both of those were due to Holm took down Anderson 4 times, kind of grinded her out for 3 rounds. And then Felicia Spencer took her down and submitted her shortly after. So, and then we have Amanda Nunes here fighting fighters like your Holly Holmes, like your Cyborgs, like your Penningtons, like your Shevchenkos ×2, like your Ronda Rouseys, fighters like that. So she's fought the much better competition. And I don't want to talk about this fight too much. I will say this. I think Nunes wins. I think she wins pretty comfortably. A lot of people are looking at the over in this fight. I don't hate it because the last 2 Nunes fights have actually went to decision. But with Megan Anderson, 7 of her last 8 fights have went to the under, so I'd be kind of cautious there. And really, if Nunes gets 1 takedown, I know a lot of people don't think this, but I think that if Nunes gets 1 takedown, the fight shortly after, it took Felicia Spencer 1, and it was shortly after. I think if Nunes takes down Anderson, she does not have the grappling, she does not have the takedown defense, she does not have the striking. Outside of like a fluke knockout, Nunes should get this done pretty much all day. Am I going to lay the -1,000? No. But maybe I'll look at a prop or something. But yeah, it should be a clear Amanda Nunes victory. I think if she wants to, stay on the feet for 25 minutes or until she knocks out Anderson, she can. If she wants to take down Anderson, which is this is what I recommend, take her down, finish her shortly after, that's great. But I think she could beat Anderson anywhere the fight goes. And I know there's some question marks with Nunes just recently, had a kid, not her, but her girlfriend or wife had a kid. There's some question marks, but I think she'll be fine. She's been here before. And just taking a look at the level of competition for Megan Anderson, just really, really underwhelming to say the least. So give me Amanda Nunes here. Give me Amanda Nunes. I'm going to say first round submission. But, yeah, I don't think it's going to be close. All right, so getting into the main event of the evening, the fight we're all been waiting for. And we have Israel Adesanya versus Yawn Blachowicz in a fantastic fight here. Israel Adesanya coming up to the light heavyweight division. I know he said in an interview that he's going to come in, weigh in around 193, which I don't know how I feel about that, but I'm not going to be too surprised if he does stay true to his word there. But yeah, this fight's going to be good. Yawn Blachowicz is somebody that I'll be honest, I've been counting him out fight after fight. I counted him out against Dominic Reyes. I counted him out against Corey Anderson. I counted him out against Luke Rockhold. I was on him again when he fought Souza, but I've been counting this guy out. I've been doubting the Polish power, but I'm a believer now. I believe in the Polish power. So the reason why I did not believe in it because he was going out there knocking out guys like Luke Rockhold, guys that don't have a chin like that. He was going out there knocking out guys like Corey Anderson, guys that don't have a chin like that. But after he went out there and knocked out Dominic Reyes, I definitely had to put some respect on his name. And in that fight, Dominic Reyes did not look all there at all. Dominic Reyes looked absolutely atrocious. And that was probably one of the best Yawn Blachowicz we've ever seen. He went out there throwing a lot more volume than usual, and he just looked great in that fight, ended up getting a finish there. But yeah, as far as this fight goes, Adesanya, he is 31 years old, going to be 7 years younger. Adesanya is 6'4", 80-inch reach, so this is interesting. He's coming up a weight class. He's still going to have a 2-inch height advantage, and he's going to have a 2-inch reach advantage. And Adesanya is 20-0, obviously 5-0 in his last 5 fights. Yawn Blachowicz, 38 years old, 6'2", 78-inch reach, 27-8, and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. So yeah, Blachowicz has been on an absolute roll. Hard to doubt this guy. I keep doubting him, but he keeps backfiring on me. So in this fight, very interesting here. So Adesanya does absorb 2.33, does give out 4.10, so very good ratio there. It has a 65% striking defense, very good at getting hit, very good at avoiding the punches, and forgot to mention the line here, but Adesanya opened up -270, currently -230. Blachowicz opened up +210, currently +190. So money's actually coming in on the Blachowicz side, which is kind of interesting here. I see, the majority of the people on Adesanya. Don't really see many people on the Blachowicz side, but as far as Yawn, typically, a lower output, and this is why I really liked Dominic Reyes over him, because Reyes typically a very high output guy, but it was the complete opposite, which was weird. But Blachowicz averages about 3.5 significant strikes per minute, 48% accuracy, absorbs 2.74 with a 54% striking defense. So that's that, and then we have the grappling stats, which I do think is interesting here. So I'm really curious to see what happens if Blachowicz comes in here with the game plan of taking down Israel Adesanya, and not many guys have been able to do it. I mean, Kelvin Gastelum was able to get Adesanya down, I think, once. Other than that, he hasn't really been taken down. I know he was taken down by Marvin Vettori twice as well. And then other than that, was taken down 3 times by Rob Wilkinson back in 2018. Brad Tavares was able to take him down 1 time. But other than that, guys don't really try to take him down. I'm curious to see what happens if Yawn Blachowicz does try to take him down here. And I kind of see this fight as the Yoel Romero fight, honestly. I think this fight's going to be very, very slow-paced. I think both guys are going to respect the other guy. I think Yawn needs to come in here and close the distance, which I think is going to be very hard to do, but basically try to clinch Adesanya against the cage, kind of like he did in the Souza fight. Clinch him against the cage, take him down. If he can do that, I think he can have a lot of success. I just think that's a lot easier said than done. I see Adesanya being able to avoid the punches pretty easily of Blachowicz. I think he's going to have a massive speed advantage. It's really not even close. He's going to have a massive volume advantage, very good leg kicks as well. And I just struggle to see Blachowicz closing the distance. Adesanya is very good at, avoiding the punches, avoiding guys coming at him, getting out of the way, very good at that. And when Yawn does blitz in, kind of very slow, does leave some openings. So I do think Adesanya is going to have plenty of opportunities to counter there. But, outside of Blachowicz getting Adesanya down, I just see Adesanya winning, and I just don't. I've learned this time and time again. I mean, fighters aren't going to fight to their best game plan, a decent amount of times. I mean, we saw in, the Curtis Blades fight. I thought he'd go out there, try to get takedowns right away against Derek Lewis. He does not do it. He gets finished. I would expect Blachowicz to go out there, try to get takedowns right away, clinch Adesanya against the cage, but that's just something he hasn't been doing, especially in his past couple fights. I don't think Blachowicz has a takedown in his last 4 or 5 fights. So he went for takedowns, in the past, but not much of as of late. I do think he should go for takedowns here, but do I think he will? Probably not. I see this being a kickboxing fight for probably 25 minutes. I really don't see Adesanya knocking out Blachowicz. Blachowicz is very durable, has been knocked out only once in 35 fights by Thiago Santos. Adesanya obviously never been knocked out, submitted. But I'm curious to see what does happen if Blachowicz does clinch up, take him to the ground, but I just don't expect him to do that. So I'm going with Adesanya here. Do I love him as a parlay piece? Not really, honestly, but I do think he wins. But what is he at? Minus 230? I guess it's not bad. Especially the line keeps coming down. If I can get him minus 190, I'd probably take him there. But yeah, I think he's going to have a massive striking advantage, massive speed advantage. And I guess we got to worry about that Polish power, which I do believe in now. I do believe in it. But it's just, Adesanya is so hard to hit. And I think Blachowicz is going to have a really tough time to hit him. So I got Adesanya here. But man, I mean, I'm counting out Blachowicz in the majority of his fights, so he could prove me wrong again. I wouldn't be shocked. Am I going to bet on this fight? Probably not as of now. I do like the over 2.5 because I do feel like it's going to be kind of more of a boring fight, more of a calculated fight, more of Adesanya staying on the outside. But other than that, probably going to pass on it as far as betting a winner or a loser here. Unless Adesanya gets to minus 190, then I'd probably pull the trigger there. So. All right, that was the card. Went through 15 fights. I almost fell asleep. It's 4 o'clock in the morning. But yeah, I'm excited for this card. I spent all day Monday tape studying it. I spent all day Tuesday tape studying it. And 15 fights is just rough. But got through it. Very happy about it. So just going to quickly go through my picks here. Israel Adesanya, Amanda Nunes, Petr Yan, Islam Makhachev, Alexander Rakic, Dominic Cruz, Yadong Song, Joseph Benavidez, Kaikar France, Tim Elliott, Carlos Ulberg, Sean Brady, Amanda Lemos, Uros Medic, and then Mario Bautista. So thank you guys so much for sticking with me. Very long video. I think it was a new record of the longest video I've ever done, which is fine, 15 fights. If you guys can please leave a like, subscribe if you have not yet. Let's try to get to 500 likes. That'd be sweet. Comment down your DraftKings usernames and comment down the significant strikes as well in the Blachowicz and the Adesanya fight. Tune in to the live stream on Friday, 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Going to be talking some weigh-ins, talking some betting, all that great stuff. And yeah, I'm going to head out of here. I'm going to go to bed. I'm tired. But yep, good luck, guys, on this card. Very, very good card. Very exciting to watch. I think there's a lot of betting opportunities and a lot of opportunities to make some money here. So that's about it, guys. And good luck on Saturday.